The issue is, it seems as though he wants to kind of like exert power and dominance over people who don't really want it.
The rumors are that Diddy was running some kind of Epstein type deal where he was filming everybody, right?
That's the rumors, yeah. I don't know that there's any proof or anything other than that.
Harvey's sudden departure after Diddy seemingly threw him under the bus has sparked major buzz. Insiders claim Steve fled just as the FBI began closing in on Diddy's empire, possibly revealing a far-reaching web of secrets. Allegations swirl about hidden cameras and underground parties, hinting at a scandal far bigger than anyone imagined. The shocking twist has left many questioning what's really going on behind the scenes.
John Diddy Combs into custody. He's seen in this video entering the Park Hyatt Hotel in Midtown Manhattan with others when agents from Homeland Security Investigations approach and separate him. They place Combs under arrest and lead him out the front door in handcuffs.
As the details grow more sensational and surprising by the day. Few celebrity friendships are as unexpected as that of Steve Harvey and Diddy. On the surface, they seem worlds apart. Steve is a charismatic TV host known for his game shows and life advice, while Diddy is a hip-hop mogul who's built an empire spanning music, fashion, and more. Yet, as it turns out, they share far more in common than meets the eye. Whispers of their late-night parties have swirled for years, and with Diddy's recent arrest,
we all saw it posted yesterday all over our social media pages. Cassie filed a lawsuit in New York City against Diddy.
Yikes.
She's claiming she was stuck in a decade-long cycle.
new details are emerging, shedding light on just how deep their connection runs behind the scenes. On October 16, 2024, Diddy was arrested in Manhattan on charges including conspiracy, coercion, and transportation for illicit activities. While the arrest made headlines, the real shock came from sources claiming Diddy has been cooperating with authorities, potentially to reduce
With very, very serious and salacious allegations, including allegations that Combs had cameras throughout his
sentence. The bombshell. He allegedly dropped a major name during his negotiations. Steve Harvey has found himself entangled in the fallout from Diddy's infamous freak-off parties, which were shrouded in secrecy and fueled by the allure of celebrity guests. According to multiple lawsuits, these gatherings were far from typical Hollywood parties. Allegedly, Diddy hosted them at his lavish mansions, which were secretly wired with hidden.
A lot of the evidence, alleged evidence, that's been gathered in this case was from those two raids that were conducted on his personal homes in Miami and Los Angeles. And the indictment names the things seized that he allegedly made videos of these performances that have been named freak off.
Cameras in every room. The lawsuits claim that Diddy would record his unsuspecting guests, capturing compromising footage without their knowledge, potentially using the material as leverage to maintain control over influential figures. Reports suggest that Steve Harvey wasn't just an occasional guest at Diddy's infamous gatherings, but a regular fixture. Despite long-standing rumors about hidden cameras and behind-the-scenes recordings, Steve continued to attend these events. Some speculate he was drawn by the
If you got to run to a private island because your evil doings is doing so much and they storming your house, it's one of these.
Now, if the government is going to mandate that they are responsible for your well-being, they have to ensure the safety of your...
of being close to Hollywood's power players, while others believe he may have had his own secrets to protect. Either way, his frequent presence at these parties raises serious questions, especially now that Diddy is reportedly cooperating with authorities and potentially spilling critical information. Jones, a former associate of Diddy who recently filed a lawsuit, claims Diddy's parties were far from ordinary. He alleges he was coerced into arranging specific encounters for high-profile...
Remember, I don't know if you know what his voice sounds like, but I felt like I was in the presence of his
celebrity guests, including Steve Harvey. According to the suit, Steve may have unknowingly exposed himself to Diddy's hidden surveillance tactics. Jones also claims that Diddy often bragged about the compromising tapes he had stored, suggesting they had the power to ruin lives if ever released. This revelation raises serious concerns about the extent of Diddy's manipulation. It's true that Steve Harvey
housing unit is a 24-hour lockdown unit, which means that any movement within that unit is controlled and coordinated, and no inmate moves outside of his cell without being in full restraints, to include leg irons, handcuffs, a belly chain, and at least 2, if not 3 staff members escorting them.
Knowingly attended events where privacy was virtually non-existent, with hidden cameras recording everything. But the story takes an even wilder turn. Insiders suggest Steve had known about the FBI's investigation into Diddy's activities long before the mogul's arrest, giving him time to plan his own escape. In fact, some believe Steve may have had more than just a simple backup plan. He might have already set things in motion to distance himself from the fallout well before the authorities closed in. As soon as Diddy was arrested, Steve Harvey seemingly vanished, sparking rumors of his sudden disappearance. He canceled public appearances, dodged calls, and went completely off the radar. Some reports suggest that Steve had been preparing for this for weeks, aware that Diddy's empire was about to collapse. But where did he go? Sources close to Steve claim he may have fled to a country without an extradition treaty, possibly one of the...
Now you got the Diddy situation where he jumps on a private jet, they say yesterday, and is on his way to the Cape Verde Islands.
And I hung the phone up. I went upstairs. I said, Marjorie down. I said, Marjorie, we got a problem. When I explained it to her, Marjorie started crying.
Caribbean islands, or even a remote location in Europe. If true, this would make it much harder for U.S. authorities to bring him back if he becomes implicated in Diddy's scandal. Speculation is swirling that Steve was tipped off by someone in Diddy's inner circle, warning him to leave while he still had the chance. This insider information could have come from a mutual friend or even someone within the legal system, allowing Steve to quietly escape before the situation.
I don't give them no energy. I give haters no energy. Steve ain't this, he think he this. You don't even know me.
Situation exploded. There are even rumors that Steve may have chartered a private jet to make his getaway, avoiding commercial flights and public scrutiny. Whether he's truly gone or just laying low remains unconfirmed, but his disappearance has raised more questions than answers. We have a problem. When I explained the situation to her, Marie started crying, and it gets even more complicated. There are rumors that Steve's wife, Marjorie...
There are some problems that the defense has brought up originally, but it seems like, just from reading this 14-page indictment, that there is enough physical evidence to perhaps get a conviction in this case. We shall see. These are allegations.
Might have been involved in his escape. Marjorie has a controversial past with alleged connections to shady figures and past relationships with men in illicit businesses. Known for her own scandals, some speculate she could have helped Steve orchestrate his getaway. While there's no solid proof yet, the idea that Marjorie played a role adds another layer to this unfolding drama, leaving many questions about their involvement in this chaotic situation. With Diddy facing serious legal troubles, it's easy to see why authorities might target anyone connected to his alleged activities. The gravity of the charges against Diddy makes it likely that others in his circle could also come under scrutiny. Clips. Steve Harvey could be the next domino to...
Of course. There's layers upon layers. When you get into these conspiracy theories, man, they never end. They never end. There's just layers upon layers upon layers.
Fall. If Diddy really has tapes, it wouldn't just jeopardize Steve's reputation. It could threaten his entire career. However, it's worth noting that Steve has weathered scandals before. He's faced cheating rumors, family drama, and public backlash, managing to bounce back each time. This situation, however, is markedly different. If the rumors are true, Steve isn't just grappling with a personal scandal. He could be facing legal action that could alter his life forever. With Diddy reportedly cooperating with authorities, Steve might find it challenging to talk his way out of this one. Will Steve Harvey be the next to face charges, or will he manage to stay one step ahead of the law? The FBI is reportedly expanding its investigation, not only delving into Diddy's alleged actions, but also scrutinizing attendees of his infamous gatherings. If investigators find any evidence linking Steve to those parties or the hidden...
I think in federal court and for these charges, they would say it's routine, but in the public realm, this is very significant, just from who we associate Diddy being and everything we've seen him do over the decades. Like you said, this is quite the downfall to go from, I mean, we saw the mansions back in March that were raided by the feds. So to go from living in those mansions to being in the
cameras, he could be in serious trouble. Rumors suggest the feds are reviewing tapes and other evidence collected from Diddy's properties, piecing together who was involved and to what extent. If Steve's name appears in that footage, it could be game over for him. With numerous celebrities reportedly present at these gatherings, Steve is not the only one facing potential.
Now, so what is next? Is he going to be in jail in this facility until the trial begins? Is there a chance he could, get moved earlier than that?
As of this moment, as of this hour, as of today, yes. But of course, as I mentioned earlier, they're going to be appealing this thing next to the Second U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals to overturn the judge's order here to try and get him actually
repercussions. For now, though, his whereabouts remain a mystery. Some speculate he has gone underground, hiding in a luxury villa away from prying eyes, while others believe he's still in the country, biding his time until the dust settles. Whatever the truth may be, one thing is certain: this story is far from over. The fallout from this scandal.
Stacey, you say today's indictment reads like a mob indictment. What was most shocking to you of all these allegations?
Yeah, the fact, Jake, that the government in this indictment presented evidence alleging that Sean Combs was running a criminal
could be even bigger than anyone imagined, affecting not just Steve, but potentially numerous high-profile figures connected to Diddy's alleged activities. No shortage of speculation. Will Steve come forward to clear his name, or will he stay in hiding until the storm passes? And what about the rest of Hollywood's elite who attended Diddy's parties? Are they all keeping their heads down, hoping to avoid being dragged into the scandal? One thing's for sure.
Stuff that he allegedly gave her copious amounts of drugs, leading to a painful struggle with drug and alcohol abuse, that he controlled every aspect of her life. He is accused of frequently beating her and would hide her in hotel rooms for days until the bruising and signs of abuse were gone.
This is one story that will keep us all glued to our clips. Faced with years behind bars, it convicted. The stakes are higher than ever, and as his legal team scrambles to cut a deal, everyone in his orbits is holding their breath, wondering if they're next. Whether Steve Harvey is truly guilty or just caught up in a bad situation, his association with Diddy is enough to make anyone question what really goes on behind the glitzy facade of Hollywood. Harvey and his wife Marjorie, while he's seemingly on the run, as more details emerge, it's becoming clear that this scandal might not be confined to just Steve's connection with Diddy. Some are now digging into Marjorie's own past, suggesting that there could be even more skeletons in the closet than we initially thought. The rumors of Steve's escape from the U.S. have brought a spotlight onto the couple like never before, and it's worth exploring just how. Clean Hollywood wife, long before she was married to Steve, she was linked to some questionable characters, and I'm not talking about fleeting associations or casual friendships. We are talking about her marriages to two men with pretty serious reputations. In fact, before meeting Steve, Marjorie was reportedly married to two different figures involved in the business of illicit substances. According to sources, her first husband, Jim Townend, was actually indicted back in the 1990s for attempting to purchase a massive amount of illegal substances, leading to a life sentence in prison. Margaret's first husband was a full-fledged thinker, thinking that Marjorie was just an innocent bystander. Think again. During Townsend's trial, it was rumored that Marjorie herself was being watched by authorities. The FBI allegedly had enough evidence on her to make her life pretty difficult. The FBI allegedly had enough evidence on her to make her life pretty difficult, and if it wasn't for Townsend's cooperation with law enforcement, she might have been indicted as well. But Townsend took the fall, and Marjorie was spared any charges. He served 26 years before receiving a pardon, and after that, he didn't hold back about his ex-wife in a tell-all book he wrote after his release. Townsend claimed that Marjorie was well aware of his activities and even hinted that she was more involved than she'd ever admitted publicly, and in one after divorcing him. Marjorie reportedly married another man, Donald Woods, who was also deeply involved in the same line of work. This guy wasn't exactly a small fish either. He was rumored to be a significant player.
Well, if he really was filming everybody, I mean, he had a lot of people at those parties, right?
There in the game, and his ties to that world ran deep. These aren't just rumors or tablet gossip. These are stories backed up by people close to the situation. Woods reportedly faced his own legal troubles, though he managed to keep a lower profile than Townsend. Nevertheless, Marjorie's ties to not one but two men involved in illegal activities raised serious questions about the kind of environment she was a part of. Steve Harvey, many saw her as a woman who'd finally left behind her past to start fresh. But now that Steve is potentially facing his own scandal, the timing seems almost too coincidental. If Margie has a history of associating with powerful men who have run into legal trouble, could it be that Steve is simply the latest in a long line? People are asking, did Margie know what she was getting into when she married Steve, or was she drawn to him for the same reason she was drawn to her previous husbands? It's hard not to wonder if there's a pattern here. And let's not forget the persistent
that this is the end of the Diddy story as we know it.
Rumors about Steve himself. Long before Diddy's scandal broke, Steve had his fair share of controversies. There were allegations of infidelity that nearly tore his marriage apart and accusations that he used his wealth and influence to avoid consequences. The tabloids had a day back in 2018 when rumors surfaced that Steve was secretly seeing other women despite his public image as a devoted husband. Steve denied these allegations, of course, but for those who knew him personally, they were hardly surprising. Adding to the speculation is the fact that Steve has always had a fascination with powerful circles. Over the years, he's been linked to a number of prominent figures, from politicians to business moguls. He's attended some of the most exclusive events, rubbing shoulders with the kind of people who could open doors in Hollywood and beyond, and yet his connection with Diddy stands out as particularly unusual. D's reputation as a party mogul and Steve's as a family man seem at odds, which makes one wonder what kind of influence he had over Steve and vice versa. While Steve is on the run, Marjorie has remained eerily silent. There have been no statements, public appearances, or signs of distress. It's almost as if she was prepared for this moment. If anyone knows how to navigate a scandal of this magnitude, it's likely her. Adding to the intrigue, there are whispers that Marjorie may have helped Steve with his escape. Insiders suggest that she could have leveraged her connections to facilitate his departure, possibly arranging for his transport to a remote location where he could lie low until the situation blows over. The theory goes that Marjorie might have called in favors from old associates, tapping into networks that have remained hidden from public view. While this is all speculation, it is curious that Steve managed to vanish so quickly and efficiently, almost as if he had a plan in place. But how does this tie back to Diddy? Surprisingly, Steve and Marjorie's connection to him might be deeper than initially thought. Although Steve and Diddy were the public faces of their association, sources claim that Marjorie had her own interactions with Diddy's circle back in the early 2000s. She was spotted at various events where Diddy and his associates were present, leading some to believe her ties to him date back further than anyone realized. Could Marjorie have been the initial link between Steve and Diddy? If so, what does that suggest about her involvement in the charges he's facing? The alleged victims have painted a harrowing picture
of comedian, entertainer, television host, family man. But most importantly, I happen to be
of what transpired at Diddy's parties, detailing everything from hidden cameras to threats of blackmail. The accusations suggest a calculated pattern of behavior spanning years. One particularly chilling detail comes from Rodney Lil Rod Jones, who claims that Diddy kept compromising footage of various celebrities who attended his parties, using it to maintain control over them. Jones alleges he was coerced into arranging specific encounters for these guests and that Diddy maintained meticulous records of everything. If Diddy possesses this type of footage, it could be a game changer. Not only would it mean he has dirt on some of Hollywood's biggest names, but it also suggests that anyone who attended these events could be implicated, including Steve Harvey. While there is currently no concrete evidence linking Steve to any—
It has to be a 100% culture shock. I can't imagine living a lifestyle of the incredibly rich and famous and then going into this very dark, impersonal, cold,
these specific recordings. The mere possibility that he could be caught on tape is enough to send shockwaves through the entertainment world. After all, if Diddy was willing to betray Steve to save himself, what's stopping him from releasing footage that could further incriminate his former friends? As the drama unfolds, the stakes are incredibly high, and the potential fallout could have lasting implications for everyone involved. Biggest questions surrounding this scandal: what exactly did Steve know about Diddy's activities, and when did he know it? If Steve was a regular at these parties, as some reports suggest, then he must have seen things that raised red flags. Could he have turned a blind eye, hoping that his association with Diddy would pay off in the long run, or was he genuinely unaware of the darker side of Diddy's empire? It's a tough call, especially—
Let me tell you something else. Not only should he have apologized to Kathy in that video, he should have apologized to all of the general public that he lied.
Considering the rumors that Steve was aware of the hidden cameras. If it turns out that Steve did know about the recordings, it would mean that he not only attended these parties, but actively participated in the cover-up, and that would be a serious blow. To his image as a family man and role model, it would also raise questions about how many others were involved in keeping the secret. Did he act alone? He had a network of enablers, people who helped him maintain his grip on power and protect his interests. If Steve was part of that network, it would explain a lot. Klims wasn't just an unwitting participant, but an active accomplice. Imagine for a moment that Steve not only knew about the recordings, but helped. Did he distribute them? This is pure speculation, of course, but if true, it would paint Steve in a whole new light. He wouldn't just be a celebrity caught up in a scandal, he'd be a key player in a web of deception and control that goes far beyond Hollywood parties. And yet, despite all of this, Marjorie has remained steadfast by Steve's side. Some might say that's a testament to her loyalty, but others see it as a sign that she's deeply in this scandal. If Steve goes down, Marjorie's future could be in gym party as well. After all, she's built her own brand around the image of a glamorous, sophisticated wife who's above the fray. But if it turns out that she's been involved in these dealings, even indirectly, that image could come. Marjorie has faced accusations of manipulation in the past, with some claiming she uses her charm and connections to get what she wants, often resorting to underhanded tactics. If that's true, it would make her the perfect partner for someone like Steve, who is known for his ambition and desire for success. Together, they've built an empire, but at what cost? This situation transcends Diddy's downfall or Steve's potential involvement in a scandal. It's a complex narrative about power, influence, and the lengths people will go to protect their interests. For years, Steve and Marjorie have cultivated an image of success and stability, but that facade is now under serious threat. As Diddy's case unfolds, both could find